What is up, everybody? Good morning and welcome back to Marvel Rivals. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be taking a look at this guy Basong playing Wolverine. We're getting another spectating video in, and so let's just jump into the replay. This guy doesn't have any sort of crazy game. He does go 20-5, so definitely a good score, but he does make some mistakes, and you will be able to see both what Wolverine does well and what he struggles with. And this guy plays around both of those things pretty well. He does have a pretty good team that actually follows up with stuff that he does, so keep that in mind. But definitely still has a good game, and there's definitely something to be learned from this. So, standing on high ground, they are on defense first here. Standing on high ground, waiting for the enemy Doctor Strange to portal, since they kind of know that that is a high possibility. A lot of teams opt to portal on this map, so making sure that he's ready for that. Plays this little pillar on the left-hand side here, pops his E for the damage reduction, tries to kidnap the Doctor Strange into his team, hopefully getting a pick. He is shielded by the Magneto and is able to stay a little bit safe. So, again, this Wolverine just backs around and plays this pillar, making sure he's not taking too much damage so his healers can focus on keeping everyone up. Gets slept over here out of line of sight, which is fine. His E has come back up, so he goes for another kidnap on the Strange, and with the help of his team and his full rage, getting all of that % health damage, he's able to take him out, and they're able to get picks on 2 of the 3 tanks on the enemy team, so feeling pretty good. The enemy Loki, I think Mantis ults, and his Storm also ults, so those kind of will cancel each other out a little bit. And they're still fighting in this room over here, waiting for his cooldowns to come up, but he ends up getting ult, committing it, and using a lot of that ult damage to get another 4-piece, pushing the enemy off of the point out of this room with just over 2 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock. So as you can see, this character is very, very cooldown dependent. You want to get in and obviously build your ult charge and all that sort of stuff, but when you don't have your damage reduction, when you don't have your kidnap, your kit is pretty bare bones. So keep that in mind as you're playing this character, as you're going into games. You don't want to just be sitting there spamming your left click without anything up. Pops his E immediately, goes in, uses his kidnap to get up this little hump thing right there. Kidnaps the Doctor Strange way out of range of his healers, and they're able to pick him pretty early in this fight. The enemy Invisible Woman ults, so he knows he's not going to get any big takedowns here, but builds a little bit of ult charge. He's at 44% now. Uses damage reduction, goes for the Magneto, ends up getting the Invisible Woman, and his whole team is pretty much taken out in that Invisible Woman ult from the enemy team. They can't kill them fast enough, and they are pretty much going to concede this first point. So, you know, I don't really know what they could have done necessarily on that point. I think it was just kind of unlucky. They didn't have access to a whole lot of ults or anything there. They used them all in that first fight, so. But they still have plenty of chances to defend, so he's just playing this side room, has all of his cooldowns up minus his passive. Goes for the kidnap on the Magneto as he steps up, but unfortunately misses it. Plays around that corner, and as you can see, he went in with no cooldowns and gets absolutely fried. That's what can happen if you go in without cooldowns on Wolverine. You are just not going to do enough. You're not going to do enough damage to solo kill someone without those cooldowns, and you're not going to survive long enough to get any value. His Doctor Strange kind of runs it down a little bit there, so they have to just back up a ton and wait for the enemy team, or wait for their team to respawn, I should say. He has access to ult, goes for high ground again, stays a little bit more out of sight, doesn't play down the main drag, because he will be looking for these flanks, these kidnaps, to bring tanks into his team. Goes for high ground here and actually gets hooked out of the sky by the Bucky. Goes to the kidnap on the Bucky, unfortunately misses yet again, but opts to ult and blow the Loki left shift. Gets on the Magneto on point and uses his % health damage at full rage to get the KO on him. Knows that he still has passive, so he's a little bit more survivability, and they're able to just run the Bucky down with the help of the Storm there. They are also in a pretty good spot. They have Storm ult coming up, Mantis ult is up, and Invisible Woman ult is up against the 5 ults from the enemy team. So this will definitely be a bit of a battle right here. Standing around this corner, staying out of sight, waiting for those tanks to step up. Pops his E, goes to the ground, and kidnaps the Doctor Strange into this side room. Not able to get a KO on him, but definitely able to take him away from the side. His Storm ults the Invisible Woman on the enemy team, pops her ult to counter it, and Magneto, Doctor Strange, they both ult as well. The Doctor Strange is actually CC'd though, so they're able to take him out pretty quickly, and you can see how quickly he shreds that Magneto there with the help of those empowered auto attacks, and they're able to run down the enemy team when they kind of use, I think they used 4 ults there. Yeah, so 4 ults spent on the enemy team, and they still win that fight. Playing out a little bit patiently, just surviving through those. And now they're waiting for yet another push. Has all of his cooldowns up, has his passive up. Goes a little bit deep here, goes for the longer range kidnap on the Doctor Strange. Gets taken very, very low there. Thankfully, is not having to blow his passive. Waiting for his cooldowns to come up on the side. Starts to build towards 100 rage right here. Misses the kidnap on the Doctor Strange again, and unfortunately gets slept. Just has to kind of sit there. Goes back up to high ground, sees his team is getting wiped, so he just backs off. And it goes towards the spawn room. Gotta take a quick dip in the spawn room pool. Get back up to full HP. And they will play for this last hold. The Doctor Strange portal's onto point, so they're able to contest this. Has a little bit of trouble getting through this point. This portal. Goes to the kidnap, is not able to get it. His passive gets proc, and he uses his ult to just get a little bit more damage on the enemy. Take a couple of them low. But his Doctor Strange and his Loki both do commit ult. And they're able to hold this point with the help of Storm ult as well. His Mantis gets a 2-piece, so that is also pretty nice. Both Invisible Woman ults are popped, so nobody's going to be dying on point right now. So they are able to stall. He's able to get back and get right onto this Magneto, who is not able to block his auto attacks with that shield. They get a couple picks with just under 30 seconds left in the match, and the Doctor Strange actually gets away, so they run him down a little bit, kidnap him back into his own Doctor Strange, and he staggers in a pretty big way here. He sees the Mantis making a break around the left-hand side there, so thinks that she's going to go for the touch with 7 seconds left on the clock. Backs up here to see if he can make something happen about that. The Invisible Woman knocks her off point, and then he kidnaps her again to keep her off point, and the enemy is not even able to get a touch there. So very, very good play, very, very good synergy, and they end the round with a score of 0-1. So definitely could have gone a whole different way there if the enemy was able to touch point there, but thanks to his CC and the Invisible Woman CC, that was not something that happened. So waiting for their Doctor Strange to teleport them in here. Has access to all of his cooldowns, his passive is up and all that, so he can go a little bit deep this first fight. Teleporting into the same room, but just around the corner from where the enemy Strange used it last round. Passive gets procced immediately, and he backs up into this room to get some healing, stay out of sight, and wait for his cooldowns. His left shift comes up, and he waits a couple seconds. His E comes up, immediately pops it, goes right back into the point, kidnaps the Magneto, and starts getting some percentage health damage on him. Jumps back up with his right click to get back to the healers, and again stays on this Magneto and is able to take him out. All of that damage on Magneto, he does die there, but all that damage on Magneto allows his team to push the enemy both off of high ground and off of point there, so they can get a little bit more of an advantage and posture up on that point in ways that they probably wouldn't have been able to do if he wasn't just in the enemy's face. So definitely play this character as more of a disruption, frontline disruption, push people back. People get really scared when they see Wolverine as well, so definitely know the effect that you will have on the enemy team. Goes in here, pops his E, isn't able to get a whole lot done since the enemy Mantis ults and the enemy Loki ults as well. His Invisible Woman ults on point just to keep them all alive, but he is actually taken out right in front of the Doctor Strange shield. Is unfortunately not able to get to safety there. His Storm ults to push the enemy team back a little bit, and his team takes the first point with 5 minutes on the clock. So very, very good first point taken. And I think I mentioned this at the start of the video. This guy doesn't do anything crazy. He really just is disrupting the front line, and I think that is what you just need to do as Wolverine. I've seen a couple comments where we have been spectating and they're like, oh, this person doesn't do anything crazy, and it's like, yeah, well, you know, sometimes they don't need to, you know, sometimes it's really just a team game, and he's being enabled by his team. He's allowed to go for these kidnaps, go for these little plays, and when he gets a successful kidnap, it is going to change the tide of the fight. They're able to win the fight, and even though he dies, so keep that in mind. Kidnaps is Strange into this side room here, and the enemy team is playing a man down. So they're able to get a little bit more pressure. Commits ult here, takes the Invisible Woman low, takes the Magneto low, kills the Loki, and his team is able to follow up there. Going right into this last point, he just has to stay on this Strange, keep him off of the touch, and they're able to finish the game with a score of 2-1. So nothing crazy as far as gameplay there, but he does play well. He does what his team needs, runs some interference, and uses a lot of his damage to take down those tanks, give his team the space they need in order to keep everyone alive, use their ults effectively, all that sort of thing. So definitely try out Wolverine. Can be a really, really good character. As you can see, goes 25, does some good damage, survives, runs that interference, but you will also die a little bit more on melee characters from what I've seen, so unless you're getting fully pocketed. But yeah, well, leave a comment and leave a like on the video if you want to see more of these, or leave a comment what you want to see next, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.